We've been talking to some authors all day, new people to Fayette TV, but we have another reoccurring guest, Jason Jack Miller. Now, last night, Jason, you had a new book that was out at the book signing.
I did.
And we got to see it for a few brief minutes before like every copy was sold.
They were gone, hotcakes, yeah.
And it's got a nice blue cover.
It does.
And Preston is back. The Revelations.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that project?
Well, it's a continuation of the series. It's going down to the crossroads. Robert Johnson went down to the crossroads in Mississippi, outside of Lula, Mississippi, and maybe made a deal with the devil. He died at 27, which also kind of lends a little bit of weight to the other legend, but he came back with an amazing gift to play guitar, and that was part of the rumor. So Preston goes down to have a little head-to-head with the devil himself.
So, music is an important part of this series, or at least it appears to be.
I could think it is.
You would say it is? I don't want to speak for you. I started to say, well, in Jason's books, it's really. But I figured since you're a guest, I should probably allow you to answer that question.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Well, the covers, you mentioned the cover. And the covers, I know I've said this on the show before, but they were designed by Hat Showprint in Nashville, Tennessee. And they do the poster art for the Grand Ole Opry. The artist, Brad Vedder, is striking out on his own, and he did the third cover. He has a print shop in Illinois, and so that was just part of the music thing that carries through all this. In fact, I like to think that the wood blocks that were used on my covers have been used for some amazing projects. I mean, Johnny Cash and Hank and Dolly and Wilco and Jack White, and I do believe that maybe there's some magic in those tiles. We went to Nashville last spring, and the week after we were there, Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin was there, and he was lucky enough to be able to sign the press, and I'm hoping for that level of prestige, but I think there's maybe something to that, so.
Maybe he made his own deal. We don't know.
That's the rumor. I don't want to get into that. There's a lot of rumors, but that's one of them, so.
So, musical influences for you personally?
Well, they're wide and varied. And when I started writing Hellbender, it was the traditional Americana. It was instrumental music, bluegrass, and folk. And I think that one of the things that I liked was the drama and the tragedy, but also that they told a story. And hence the Murder Ballads and Whiskey name of the series. Pretty Polly, somebody gets murdered. Banks of the Ohio, somebody gets murdered. And that, of course, connects with the song "Somebody Got Murdered" by The Clash, much later. But there's a theme there. So 2003 it was traditional Americana, and today it's anything from Radiohead to John Lennon to Wilco to Muse, and on and on and on. It's just one of those things that my Twitter bio is music is the alpha and the omega, and writing is everything in between, and that's kind of how I have them sandwiched together.
Perfect for you.
Yeah, it is. It works well.
Wow.
So no questions there about what I'm into.
So is there, you're an artist, so maybe you can appreciate all music as art. Is there a particular genre or maybe artist that you just don't identify with as being art?
Well, that's interesting because I think the obvious answer would be to say that yeah, there's something that I can't identify with. But so far, I really have a hard time turning my nose up at anything. We moved to Florida in the 90s, and I was in the country as a way to kind of connect me to Fayette County. In high school, it was NWA, and Dre just came out with The Chronic, sandwiched with the Pearl Jam, Nirvana, grunge things. So I am fortunate to have been born in an MTV era when Run DMC would play alongside Madonna and Bruce Springsteen. Now Bruce is hard rock and Madonna is dance, and Run DMC is old school rap. But even stuff with the electronic dance music, Ellie Goulding blows my mind. She's amazing. And my Spotify playlist is schizophrenic. It's everywhere. And I know that's probably an easy way out. I don't think it is. I think, I can listen to
Although I will
anything.
say that Natalie Duvall was on here earlier talking about one of her favorite bands was AC/DC.
AC/DC, they're probably in my...
I thought of you.
You don't shake all night long. That's not good.
What's funny is my brother has his triumvirate, and it includes Snoop Dogg and the Chili Peppers and AC/DC. And for me, AC/DC is one of those things that when I hear the opening peal of Thunderstruck. I just have to.
You cringe
I
just
cringe
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get it later, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to try to do it anytime soon.
So is there more for Preston
Yeah, it's funny because I was just
coming
talking
down the
to-
road?
Yeah, it's a 5-book series, and I have to end it somehow. And I was just telling Jennifer Barnes, my editor, that somebody's gonna have to die soon. I know it's gonna. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I have 2 more books planned for the series, and
And All Saints is already pretty much.
it's pretty much done.
planned out.
I have another series planned for afterwards, but I can't say anything about it because it's a spoiler. There's a big reveal in the Revelations of Preston Black that people who've read the first book probably shouldn't see coming. And I'm hoping that the book was just released last week, and I've got some reviews already, and nobody's giving it away.
I was
but
surprised that
I was
nobody has
surprised
given the
too.
spoiler out.
I thought for sure that we were going to see that, but
So can we talk a little bit about publishing? I know it's not on our notes here today, but you self-published the first book of the series.
Yes. I did self-publish the first book of the series, and it was a tumultuous time in publishing. We'd been pursuing the traditional route, and
And for those that don't know the traditional
the
route,
traditional route is you query an agent, and maybe years and years later, you get an agent, and then months after that, maybe the agent sells the book to a New York City publisher, one of the big 6, or maybe not. So it's a lottery to some extent. I think you can improve your odds by doing things like going to graduate school and continuing to write, but I do believe that to some extent it's still a lottery. And with self-publishing, I felt that I controlled a little bit more of my own fate. So I released The Devil in Preston Black to a mixed reception, especially amongst some people that were really, really into the traditional way that didn't think it was going to work. And I'm happy to say that it did. And I think it was not so much the way that I published, but the risk-taking. I think that one of the things that artists can do is get really complacent. So the risk-taking and the ability to put myself out there was, I think, the reward that led to this beautiful relationship that I have with my publisher, Raw Dog Screaming Press. I would not have met them if I hadn't self-published, which I think seems really kind of oxymoronic, but it's the truth. I would not have met them if I hadn't taken the risk.
do you foresee a paradigm shift in the industry?
I think it's shifted. I think that the asteroid has entered the late Cretaceous atmosphere and that there are dinosaurs that are standing there watching it, and that there are mammals scurrying for nuts and seeds. And sorry to go there, but I do. I think it's shifting. I think it's moving now as we speak. I think that artists are going to come from nowhere. I think people that have been comfortable with their deals are going to see publishing passing by, which is exciting, though.
We've already seen, just at the Penn Writers Conference recently, several New York Times bestselling authors who are also publishing books on their own because they're getting so much more of the profit that way. So it's a big hybrid. We're very much into the hybrid idea of working with a publisher and then doing some things on your own so that you maintain as much control creatively as what you possibly can over the work.
Yeah, and like I said, Raw Dog Screaming Press has been amazing because they are do-it-yourselfers. They entered publishing in the late 90s and early 2000s, which was a time that was a rebellious type of thing to do. And they've bucked the system, and they've been around for 10 years. In a time when publishers are folding up left and right, there's a lot of small publishers that are folding.
What effect do you think the closure of big box bookstores has had? We've seen Barnes and Noble just kind of
imploding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that's changed the industry?
Well, I think it's easy to get on a soapbox with that. I think a lot of people think that Amazon is the devil, and so far, to tie it back to the Revelations, I say better the devil you know, but we forget that Barnes & Noble pushed a lot of independent booksellers out of business.
Absolutely.
And Borders.
And Borders. So I think that, like iTunes did with music, I think that we're just going to have to rethink the idea of a $30,000 advance, and then it's going to be on an iTunes type of basis. $4 ebook versus a $3 single. I mean, I don't see that as being, I know the amount of time that you put into writing a book is a lot greater, but still I see it as a similar type of commodity. And I think that authors who are willing to accept that will do really, really well.
Well, hey, Jason, best of luck to you. We're
Appreciate
excited
it.
about the next 2 books coming out.
I am too.
If people want to get in touch with you, I know you tweet, you Facebook,
yes.
you're
Yeah,
all over the
I'm all over the
online
place.
world.
I say just Google Jason Jack Miller. And
Okay.
you'll find my blog, you'll find my Twitter, and there are places
Arrest
to connect with me
photos
there.
and
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hey, we're out of time, so we're going to have to wrap it up. But we'll be right back in a few moments with more from Seton Hill's In Your Right Mind conference.